They go to the back. Main event is Cody Rhodes and Solo Sikoa. Cody is getting ready. He's got Pharaoh, and he walks by, and they're off to the corner, just like the
Machine Gun Anderson.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, well, I guess not the other Machine Gun Anderson.
Machine Gun Anderson.
Yeah.
Arn Anderson is over there, stands Glock, and he tells Cody that his friends are on the way. So very tough to set up this match when you're pretty much stating, don't take anything serious until the run-ins begin, which is kind of what Bloodline Rules is. Yeah. Don't take anything seriously until they show up. And it was kind of just like the match was going. Like, this was all around the run-ins and the final chapter at the end of the match.
As soon as they announced Bloodline Rules, that's code for you're going to see a bunch of surprise run-ins. Yeah. And okay, as long as you can deliver on the surprise, then Bloodline Rules is still a draw. But the first 30, I don't know how long, 20 minutes?
I didn't actually get the time.
Whatever. This
was definitely the longest match.
First portion of the match until the run-ins is going to be pretty meaningless. And I couldn't really get into it.
Yeah, I thought the first half of this, like, it was just kind of going along. I can't say it stood out in, like, a big way. It was a lot of Solo getting, 29 minutes and 10 seconds. Where you read this one.
It was Solo Sikoa working a Roman Reigns style of match in that it was, like, kind of, like, slow. He was, like, doing a lot of talking in between moves. But, like, Roman has tenure and, like, has main evented.
And he's a more dynamic performer. Like, let's just be honest. And Solo Sikoa.
He's just kind of earned the rank to be, like, of a guy who I think is still captivating even when he's just walking around not doing much. Solo, it's still tough, I think, for a lot of people to buy him in this world title contender level. And I certainly found it tough to buy him playing this sort of Roman Reigns type of style of match.
One of the highlights for me was Cody going for this moonsault off the top turnbuckle in the ring. And the commentators had to break this thing down like it was like an Olympian, like doing his final routine. It's like Michael Cole's yelling, it was a moonsault, but it ended in a cross body. It was like sideways, and they're like breaking this down, and then Corey Graves is like, kind of looked like a Terry Funk moonsault. By the end of this, if Cody rewatches this, he's retiring that moonsault just based on Cole and Graves' reaction to it. So the Tongans run in first, and Rhodes still kicks out after their attack. Kevin Owens, who was in town.
Yeah, that's Sami Zayn.
Did you have a flat tire on the way to Cleveland Brown Stadium? He made it.
Fixed it, yep.
Runs out, huge pop. Followed by Randy Orton, huge pop. Then a Crossroads is hit. Sikoa kicks out as Owens and Orton take the Tongans out. And Cody is alone, grabs the steps and uses them as a weapon. And then, as he lifts them over his head, Solo spears him. And Sikoa gets stopped with the steps, hits two more Crossroads when Jacob Fatu runs into the ring. And he attacks Cody, hits his beautiful moonsault. Cody kicks out of that. And so Cody is placed onto the desk by Jacob Fatu, and this became really the big spot of the match to discuss. Jacob Fatu does a giant splash off the top of the turnbuckle, putting Cody through the desk, and he comes down, and he immediately, it looked like he was grabbing his shin as opposed to the ankle, and he is screaming, and he's just, on the one hand, this made sense to take him out of the match. Mm-hmm. At the other way, I can't envision them putting Jacob Fatu, this monster, the werewolf, to be selling like this. Right. That I almost thought for sure he had to have been hurt here.
And
Paul Levesque did say he was hurt. Not sure how serious. Now, it's Paul Levesque stating that, but I kind of had the benefit of the doubt here that this could have been a real injury, which hopefully is not
we'll find out soon.
Not the case, because this guy's in the role of his life here, and
they need him.
He came down. It's a tough spot to pull off, but we will see. This did take him out of the match, and you did have to take him out of the match somehow. So
yeah, but Roman was also going to be there, so
that's true. Like that could have been. It could have been. He takes out Jacob Fatu and then takes out Sikoa. But
interesting.
We're left to the two. And Sikoa hits a splash, and Cody collapses, avoiding the Samoan spike, but then manages a super kick and Cody cutter off the top when all of a sudden Roman Reigns and his new theme plays.
Yeah.
And out comes the OTC.
which you believe stands for what? On the clock.
Oh, I was gonna go with
Off the record.
Off to censor. We assumed that this is like original tribal chief, one tribal chief maybe. We will find out. Usually when they introduce an acronym like this for a new marketing campaign, Michael Cole yells it out about 100 times. He never said this. He was just like, it's the tribal chief. It's Roman Reigns. So we didn't get the, I'm sure maybe.
So yeah, chat room saying original tribal chief.
Original. Okay. So he runs into the ring, Superman punch onto Solo Sikoa, gigantic pop. I mean, on this night, the dreams of Roman Reigns becoming the top babyface of this company were met for this night, and we knew in the run-up to this it was going to be really big. My one thought was that they were going to get so much heat on Cody Rhodes, and Orton is left, Owens is left, that we would get this whole place chanting "We want Roman" when they hit that music, and they really didn't build up to.
So again,
I'm sure there were some chants, but I wanted like deafening.
But again, we don't know the Jacob Fatu of it all, right?
You're right. You're right. That
could have been a two on one.
It could have been 2-on-1.
It probably was a 2-on-1 beatdown.
You're right. As you state that probably would have been where they go, because the music just kind of comes out of nowhere. It's not like there was this crescendo.
Yeah, and if that's the case, can you imagine the scrambling backstage? Like the guy who we need in the last spot of the evening is just taken out. How do we set this up?
I think you're 100% right.
Yeah.
So he spears Solo, and then he just eyes Cody, who's watching this. Sikoa is out, and Cody walks over, one more crossroads to win the match. 29 minutes and 10 seconds. This was all about Roman Reigns. I thought he was, as a match, I can't say this was one of like Cody's like better,
it was not
title matches. And 29 minutes with Solo, like that was a lot. That was a lot to go to. You did have some smoke and mirrors here post run-ins. But ultimately, this audience was pretty happy getting Roman Reigns, and now you kick off the whole bloodline feud. And I think it would have been maybe like overkill to introduce the Usos here. I think that's a future. Just the three of them finding themselves in the ring.
It's weeks of TV.
Yeah, you could do a separate Jimmy comes back, and then eventually you could build to that. I think that's way. Yep. You've got weeks, if not longer, till you get to that.
I thought the match was kind of made difficult. Number one, because of the stipulation. Number two, because I think Solo Sikoa just doesn't have the aura to carry like a Roman Reigns style of match. And I think that might have been a fault. Like maybe he shouldn't have worked a Roman Reigns style of match, and he should have come up with like a more dynamic, interesting, violent style. It's easy to like maybe lay criticism on him, but I think we also have to remind ourselves this guy debuted either very close to, if not during NXT 2.0.
Yes.
Like, he's a relatively brand new project, and the fact that we could even talk about him as a SummerSlam main eventer is kind of crazy. So he has a lot of years, I think, to reach his final form. But tonight, this was, if we could just comment on this match, it was not the match of the night, which I think, the main event always strives to be, and I would even say kind of far from it. But it delivered on what it paid off on, I think, what it promised and what it teased. And it's that Roman Reigns came back here, begin a feud with Solo Sikoa, kind of gave you like, the mutual respect stuff between Roman Reigns and Cody. And, how did
you feel about the show by the end of it?
I think I enjoyed the show overall. I thought Cody and Priest delivered like the in-ring sort of like quality that you might expect. Now, that match alone, delivering that type of style of match, is that enough for a lot of people? Questionable. But I do feel like Seth and Drew and Punk delivered like tremendous value in terms of storytelling and payoff there. This show was about giving you results and giving you like significant title wins. It was about crowning a lot of like sort of their next generation guys, or at least like long-term projects, like an LA Knight. Nia Jax, I think you can consider. Braun Breaker, certainly. And who was the fourth person that won a title?
You said Nia, LA Knight, Braun Breaker.
Yeah. Is that it?
And who was the fourth? Gunther.
Gunther, that's right, yeah. And, to me, all of that felt like significant, like worth the admission.
The title changes are not like too frequent. Like in this version of WWE, they're pretty infrequent. And you throw in the Bloodline title change on Friday. Like they swapped a lot this weekend to probably set up a lot of stories.
They gave you newsworthy items, I guess, if you want to call it that.
Yeah, I would say like as a show, I I enjoyed the show. It gave you a lot of like, your moments that these WWE shows are really like centered around. I didn't think this was like some classic SummerSlam show, but I found myself like I enjoyed the show, but I also see it as probably like a divisive show with people that some people are not. Some people are tuning in and they want to see excellent wrestling for 3-4 hours, and for other like this was a very like moment heavy, storyline heavy show.
I tend to think like WrestleMania and SummerSlam are those types of shows though. They're season finales, right? You know, they're the shows where you get like the big turns. Mm-hmm. You get the like what is it? Dominic. You know, that was the big payoff there too, right? And in-ring quality, I almost you should have both, ideally, you know, for everything.
Yeah. Now, I don't think you want to have one at the expense of the other. Like you want to have both that kind of complement each other.
Did you think there were any matches that were actually bad?
Actually bad on the show,
or just even like mediocre? I would say the first portion of the Bloodline match was mediocre.
Oh, I would call that match mediocre until the big pops at the end. Uh-huh. Breaker and Zayn, just because I was just
5-minute match. Yeah,
it was short. Yeah, it was like it was closer to it was just less than I expected from it, but it served its purpose. Like it was fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When we talk about these shows, I think so much of it is dependent on your expectation going in. But I again, for me, it's mainly about like how captivating was the show, how much did the crowd respond to it, and I would say it's a thumbs up show if you're just grading by those metrics.